Yo, what's good, guys? I'm Darren, and I'll be sharing my stories, my experiences, my views, and my thoughts on a range of topics from music to sports to food and a bunch of other stuff. This is the show about anything and everything for anyone and everyone. This is the N1 Podcast. Let's go! What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the N1 Podcast. I'm your host, Darren, and today we will be talking about living abroad. As some of you guys may or may not know, I lived in Perth for around 3 years, where I studied in the University of Western Australia, and I recently graduated just last year. Okay, so today I want to be talking about some of the experiences that I had, some of the things that I did, some of the struggles that I faced, and how I overcame those struggles, and ultimately my overall experience living abroad. Alright, so let's get started. So I want to take you guys back to before I left for Perth. Alright, so for those of you who may or may not know, in Singapore, all males must go through 2 years of national service, and that's something that I'll talk about in another episode. So for those of you who do not know, don't worry, I got you covered. Alright, anyway, as I was nearing the end of my national service, right, I had to decide on my tertiary education, so where I was going for uni and what I was going to study, and just the usual stuff when preparing for the next step of your education. Right, so I ultimately didn't have many choices in Singapore. So my choices in Singapore were an international college, and I could have applied to a local uni, but my chances of getting in were slim to none because my prior grades were terrible and didn't really meet the local uni standards. So my main choice really in Singapore was an international college. Now, don't get me wrong, the international college here, the course was only 16 months, so it was a no fuss, straightforward degree. It was so quick and easy, and my other choice really was going overseas, which I ultimately decided on, and yes, which I'm glad I did, right? And yeah, so as I was nearing the end of my service, right? So I attended so many of these uni exhibitions that they had here in Singapore, and there were so many agents that were helping us to familiarize with the unis, and I ultimately decided on Perth for a few reasons, and one of those was I have relatives there who live there, and Perth is really close to Singapore as compared to, say, America or the UK, and or even Melbourne and some of the other states in Australia. And also one of the main reasons is because the Uni of Western Australia in Perth was the only one who accepted me. So thank you guys for that. And yeah, so those were some of the reasons why Perth was where I went. Alright, and there was just so much to prep for, so much to get ready for, and the thought of living alone, the thought of being away from family, leaving your comfort zone, trying new things, getting acquainted with other people from anywhere, and yeah, I was pumped, I was excited, I couldn't wait, and fast forward, I was in Perth, I stayed in a college that was outside campus. It was opposite campus rather, and it was an awesome college really, and it was a very community based college, and like I said, so fast forward, I was in my little room, and the first few days were tough. Okay, I tell you, I missed my family. I missed home. I was in a new environment. I didn't know what to expect, and I was just really sad. And but eventually, I got used to it, and I got over it, and things turned out well, right? And but my first semester in Perth didn't really go as I wanted. Okay, so why I say that? I struggled. I struggled badly. I struggled academically and socially. Um, it just made my first semester, very very stressful, very overwhelming, and so here's why, right? Me personally, I used to be a very introverted person. I still am. Don't get me wrong. But I've gotten rid of some of my introverted habits, and I'm still working on it. And so anyway, I was introverted, and I really shied away from interactions, events, things that brought many of us together really. And mind you, I lived in a college that was very community based. It was very inclusive, and everybody was very nice, and always tried to bring everybody in. And yet I really shied away from it. I didn't want to open myself up, and I just stayed in the room most of the time. And I did attend one or two events, but that was about it. And yeah, so I struggled badly. I struggled socially, because of my inability to interact, to socialize. And I also struggled academically. All right, I was struggling in two units mainly, which was macroeconomics and accounting. So I was never a math guy or a numbers person, so those two units were hell for me, right? And but throughout the semester, I, being the shy guy that I was, or intimidated to a sense, I didn't really seek any help or guidance, and there were so many resources there to help me, but I didn't really try to find it or try to use it to my advantage. And that was one of my biggest problems. And yeah, so I struggled academically. My grades were so bad. I was failing my assignments, and I tried my best to grasp whatever the lecturer was saying, but ultimately throughout the semester I just put my head down and went about my stuff. And I really tried to do everything on my own, and so fast forward, final exams were rolling in. All right, and one of the nights, my parents called. All right, so we were having just a casual conversation, like, how's everything, how's life, how are you adjusting? And it was going fine, right? I didn't want them to worry, so I was saying all the stuff like, oh, everything's great, stuff like that. And just midway through the conversation, tears started rolling down my face, right? And I just started bawling, and I just burst in tears. Okay, and it was because I was so overwhelmed, so stressed, because I saw the look on my parents' faces when they thought I was happy. They were so happy, right? And I was so overwhelmed and stressed and pressured, and I just let go in that moment, right? And it was a real breakthrough for me. And so my parents asked, right, what's wrong? Why are you so upset? And it was tough for me to say, but I had to let it out somehow, somehow, right? And so I let them know I was struggling. I wasn't able to cope as well as I thought I could, and thankfully, they were so understanding, and they said, "Hey, if you want to change course, just go ahead. You're in university. You're in a foreign place. I want you to." This is what they said. So I want you to have fun. Ultimately enjoy yourself. This is uni. It's gonna be a few years of your life, and ultimately, take your time, enjoy yourself. If you want to change course, go ahead. We'll support you, and that's something I'm so appreciative of. Things started to change for me in the following semester, right? So what changed, really, right? I wouldn't say I made very drastic changes, just small steps, right? So I had a fresh start, and how often do you really get a fresh start? I was lucky enough to get one, so I wanted to make it count as much as I could, right? So I came back slightly more sociable. I started opening up a little bit more, started interacting with different people. I started to be more open to listening to everybody's stories. I took more initiative in starting a conversation, and it turned out so well for me. Things got so much better. I made so many good friends that that I'll never forget, and I just slowly soaked it all in. I embraced the culture as I was in a foreign country, right? And I embraced everything that came with it. I embraced and learned the culture, and that ultimately helped me. And I'm glad that I was able to speak up, which is something that I feel is so important nowadays. To be able to talk to someone, you can't keep everything inside you, right? So I became more happy. I was enjoying my time, and I changed to Bachelor of Arts, and my uni life became more of a vacation, a holiday, right? I was excited to meet people. I didn't really think of home that often, right? And I was doing the things that I love. I was playing more sports, and like I said, I love sports, and I was trying new things. I was going out more, and oh yeah, I was drinking and clubbing, and mind you, guys, I've never clubbed before in Singapore, so that was my first time, and yeah, it was wow, it was an experience, right? And also, I met so many amazing people who I now call family. And we made so many fantastic memories over the short span of time, and I love them so much, and I miss them. I hope that I can see them soon, and it ultimately became a very enjoyable experience for me, and I'm glad that it changed. I couldn't have imagined going through all that struggle throughout those 3 years. It was painful, and I'm so glad that it changed. Okay, and some of the experiences I also had was spending different occasions with my friends rather than my family back home. And so yeah, I spent Christmas, New Year's, and Chinese New Year's with my friends there in Perth. Right. It was my first time away from family during these occasions, and I didn't know what to expect. Right. I didn't know whether we were going to stick to tradition or whether we were going to move away from it. And I was nervous and excited at the same time, as I couldn't wait. It was my first time being with my friends, spending these occasions with other people, and I couldn't wait. Right, so it was Christmas, and we were at my friend's place. She's a great hostess, right? And so we all decided that we would each cook a dish and bring to her place so that we can all feast, right? And I cooked up a honey soy chicken, and it came out really bad. It was too salty, and and the rest made like chili mussels and butter chicken pasta, and the others made desserts, and it was just awesome, right? It was Christmas, it felt so joyous. And then we also had Secret Santa, right? So there were about 7 of us, and we each drew lots from a hat, right? So who we were going to exchange gifts with, right? And so we count down to 12 o'clock, midnight, right? So 3, 2, 1, boom, Merry Christmas, right? And then we were all sitting in a circle, and then we started exchanging gifts, and it was just so joyous and festive, and it really felt like Christmas, right? And I was so happy, and it was just so much fun. All right, and then a few weeks later, or rather a few days later, New Year's, and again we were at a friend's place, and her place was nearby the fireworks, the New Year's fireworks. So we were fortunate enough to be able to see the fireworks, and 3, 2, 1, the countdown, and it was amazing. Boom, all the fireworks, and we were so happy, and Happy New Year's. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to wish my family back home because they were all asleep, and but I'm so thankful to have my friends there with me to celebrate the New Year's, and it was so much fun. Then fast forward, it was Chinese New Year. So here in Singapore, and for me, Chinese New Year is huge, right? It was like Chinese New Year was like our Christmas. And so first of all, I went to my relatives' place, because ultimately they are my family, right? And I'm so thankful that they cooked up dinner for me, and I'm so happy that I was able to see a bit of family then. And then it was back home, back to my friends, and then the following night we had hot pot, right? And we were listening to Chinese New Year music, and we were just speaking Chinese, and it was just so traditional. I was so glad that we were able to keep that part of our culture. And we ended up playing card games, gambling a bit, and I ultimately lost quite a bit of money, and so I stopped. I just drank that night, and I was so happy, that I was able to spend that time with my friends, and it didn't feel very strange at all. And I'm so glad that I had people to spend that time with. All right. So after graduation, my ultimate goal was to secure a full-time job, and in the meantime, I would look for a part-time job to keep me occupied. Right. So I was searching for part-time jobs here and there, and I went for a few trials, and I worked 2 part-time jobs, and they were chicken rice and fish and chips. Alright, so at chicken rice, it was a very unique experience. Okay, so I had applied for the cashier position, right? And when I got there, and mind you, this is a trial, right? Which is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And alright, so yeah, I was working, or rather, I applied for the cashier position, and when I got there, the manager said, hey, we need you in the kitchen. Right, so but I was like, sorry, I applied for the cashier position, and he said, oh, we don't need a cashier, we need someone in the kitchen. And I was stunned. I didn't know what to do, and so I said, okay, why not, since I'm here, right? And alright, so I'm in the kitchen. I got down and dirty, so I was marinating chicken. I was taking the guts out. I was blanching chicken. I was wrapping chicken. I did all sorts of things, and it was also foreign to me, right? And I will always remember what the manager said. He said this, why should I pay you for something that I can get done in 15 minutes, right? So that stung, as it was my first time ever doing this kind of a thing, right? And I didn't know what to do, but I just went with it, and I ultimately ended up working 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 5 p.m. was their closing time. So but I was on trial, so why am I working till 5, right? So after closing, the manager said, we like your attitude, if you're willing to come back and try again and work hard, I'll be willing to train you. And in my mind, I was like, this was never the position I wanted. I initially applied for the cashier position, and I ultimately decided against it. So I never went back, and I never got paid for that 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so yeah, that was an experience, I see, right? My other part-time job, which was a fish and chips shop, right? And this was a takeaway shop, and yeah, I worked the cashier position. Okay, so I was on my first day on the job. There was so much to do, right? As it was only a takeaway shop, they usually had the cashiers work wrapping the fish and chips and work the cashier. But as it was my first day, I was thankful enough to have someone by my side, and there were so many calls coming in, and it was so overwhelming, and luckily I had someone by my side. All right, so a few shifts in, suddenly I get this question, hey, can you commit for a few months? Now, like I said at the start, my ultimate goal was to secure a full-time job, right? So I couldn't really give an answer to whether or not I could commit for a few more months, It was never my plan to work at a fish and chip shop full time. Now, because of that, the manager never replied me. He didn't need me to come back, and I kept asking for a few shifts throughout the week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, and he never got back to me at all. And I asked for my pay because I did work like the 3 to 4 shifts, right? And nothing at all, and no reply, nothing, right? So that's something that I'll never forget. It was an experience, right? How often does someone experience these things, right? So that was part-time jobs for me. So fast forward a month or two, I decided I tried my best with everything that was going on. Obviously, they wanted to prioritize locals, especially in terms of jobs. And I told myself, hey, I tried my best, and maybe it's time to head home, right? There are always opportunities back home. Okay, so here I am. It was a bittersweet farewell. I still miss those guys, and yeah. So what I'd say is, I know this sounds cliche, but it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Alright, I'm sure you guys heard this before, but it's so true. Your journey might not always start as well as you hoped or as well as you like, but it's really up to you to go and make the best of the rest of your journey, right? It's really down to you to seize the day, right? These things are so cliche, but it's so true. You never realize it till you actually go through it, right? So take it from me. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And make the best of it, right? How much time do we really have, right? I'm so glad that I was able to speak up. I was able to change, and ultimately ended up enjoying myself. Like I said, my uni life felt like a holiday, a vacation. Studying really felt secondary to enjoying myself, to having fun. But I did study. Don't get me wrong. I was also there to get a degree, right? It's I've said this before, and I had the best time of my life, and I really truly believe that, and I really enjoyed myself, and there's so many factors, from friends to the things we did together, the things that I experienced. There's so many things that contributed. But most importantly is, just have fun and enjoy yourself. Do your best. Nobody can say anything when you've done your best, right? And yeah, alright. I want to say this: if the opportunity presents itself, I know it's tough, especially in times like these, right? But if the opportunity presents itself, do try to get out there, learn new things, experience new cultures, learn and share and listen to different stories, open up. I've become, I wouldn't say a better person, but I've become a more open person. I am so much less introverted than I was before. I've become a better listener. I know now that everybody has their own stories to tell, and always be open to listen to perspectives, opinions. We all have opinions, right? and things might not always mesh, and always be open to, like I said, opinions. Don't take everything to heart, and lighten up sometimes, right? And yeah, just enjoy yourself. Really. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. So that is my story on living abroad. I had an awesome experience, and I hope that some of you who might have gone through the same thing, or maybe going through the same thing, or if you think that your friend might need to hear it, please do share. And like I said, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like, please give a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel for more updates on the N1 podcast and for further episodes. And let me know about your experiences living abroad, right? I want to hear. And I invite you guys to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram for more updates on the N1 podcast. Alright, peace.